It's not just about the black man journey. It's the black people journey. Harriet Tubman freed men and women and children. We all are part of the struggle.
Hey, welcome to another edition of the Journey to Freedom podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Brian Arnold, and just excited today because we're going to talk to Amen Rahh, who has just been a pillar in the community, who understands a lot of what happens when we talk about the Black wealth experience, or we talk about just what does it mean to be a Black man here in America. And so as we journey through, we have our 5 pillars, which are trust, faith, finance, and then we talk about our health, and we talk about our identity, and he has expertise in all of these different areas. And so as we unpack today, I think you're going to want to take out a pencil, you're going to want to take out a piece of paper, you're going to really want to see what are some of the things that he studied as a professor at the university. He's done Black studies. He's talked about the experience from different perspectives as we try to move forward. And so, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for, getting, I know you got stuff going with your family today, but you wanted to take the time out to be able to do this. So maybe you can just kind of start it off about, your experience. You can start wherever you want in life, just to kind of talk about where you came from and then where you're at now.
First of all, I want to say Asante Sana, which is thank you in Swahili to Brian for having me on the show. And I'm quite sure he has had some very informative episodes on his podcast. And we want to thank him for bringing education to the people and letting the people bring education to him. And that's a beautiful thing. And so we deeply appreciate his hard work in putting his podcast together. Excuse me. My name is Professor Amen Rahh. I'm Professor Emeritus at California State University, Long Beach, Africana Studies Department. And I'm a former city councilman for the city of Compton, former Compton College Board of Trustees, and former Compton Unified School District Board of Trustees, as well as I've been active in the community for many years, going back to 1965. I call that my awakening to the issues we face as a people, even though I was just in junior in high school at that time. But at the same time, because there was an Afrocentric movement or a Black movement during the 60s, people were wearing naturals and music was like Curtis Mayfield, We a Winner, and People Get Ready, and all those type of things, Temptations, Message to a Black Man album, and go on to Gil Scott-Heron, Sweet Honey in the Rock, James Brown, I'm Black and I'm Proud. I mean, so there was a consciousness and a movement to bring pride and a sense of achievement, of achievement. We rediscovered Carter G. Woodson's work on Black History Week, Negro History Week, and changed it to Black History Month. And we were introduced to Kwanzaa by Dr. Maulana Karenga, as well as, which is a holiday, a celebration of the 7 principles of the Guso Saba, which is a bare minimum of Maulana values that we need, as well as hundreds and hundreds of other programs that started through the war on poverty, manpower development programs all over the country, as well as team posts and things of this nature. So the 60s was into the 80s was a beautiful year. I became head of Black Studies in 1970. I was a basketball player through high school. I had a scholarship to Idaho. I came back and North Idaho Community College. I came back because my father had terminal cancer, and I came back to assist the family and taking care of him and things and that. And from there, I went to Compton College, got a scholarship to Long Beach State, played with Hall of Fame coach played for a Hall of Fame coach, Jerry Tarkanian. But
Okay.
I was a scholar. I graduated with honors with my BA in sociology from Long Beach State, and we were starting Black Studies. The first one was started by Nathan Hare and Julia Hare. Well, Nathan Hare at San
Mhm.
Francisco State, but it was just a program. We started a department, and that was the difference between a program and a department,
Mhm.
and the
Absolutely.
difference between in a collegiate program where you share the classes with different departments that's already established. We
Mhm.
had our own independent autonomy department, in which I served as the administrator from 1970 to 1973, and then I became just a professor where I taught for 34 years. So, and I have 12 brothers and sisters, as well as 6 children and 14 grandchildren. Been married to the same woman for over 45 years, and I counted the 7 years we went together. So, I'm just proud of my family and proud of being who I am and the life that I led. And as Brian said, this is a program about the journey to freedom. But as
Mhm.
Frederick Douglass said, it should be the struggle for freedom, because
Okay.
without struggle, there's no progress. And you can call it a journey, but that journey going to include struggle. Every of freedom and liberation that we've gotten, we had to struggle for. We
Mhm.
fought for. People sacrificed their lives, and we are still doing that up to today. But at the same time, there's some young people that may not be getting, as Carter G. Woodson said in 1933, the miseducation of the Negro. Well, I would say it's a continuation of the miseducation, not
Mhm.
just in the public schools, but at home. Are you teaching your children political consciousness? Are you teaching them ethics and morals toward loving and caring for each other? See, most people think that being black is opposite or against white people. No, it's about loving yourself and your people, respecting yourself, and looking for the good, because the media is going to cover all the bad. So we have to really struggle and study the good.
Mhm.
The Casia Brown, Supreme Court Justice, the Kamala Harris Vice President, and Barack Obama, who was president, and the true meaningful to us as a people for achievement, as Jesse Jackson said, from the slave house to the White House, and that's a hell of a journey. So
Mhm.
you can ask me some questions, Brian.
Yeah, no, thank you for an immense bio and being able, really look at, the progress. And I was born in 1965, so I kind of feel like, hey, you getting started when I was getting started, right? I was getting started with life, and you was getting started on making a difference. Yeah. You talked about, and you talked about identity, and ethics. And when I think about identity, and I think about the young black man of 2024, and I think of the struggles that we'll have to go through, what are some things that we can do to not only understand our history, but to realize what our identity should be and how we should be able to move forward?
Well, people can call themselves what they want. They can name themselves what they want, and they can pretty much live a life of comfort, regardless of the discomfort institutionally in the society that they are. Some people think freedom is the choice between Taco Bell and Jack in the Box. Some people think freedom is the right to worship whoever their religion. There are different levels of that consciousness, but the freedom to do all of them is our struggle to be ourselves and to be able to express ourselves in the way that we understand ourselves. Most
Mhm.
people, most African Americans, and this is very important. It's not just about the black man journey; it's the black people journey. It's Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman freed men and women and children. We all are part of the struggle. You can't free the black man without the woman and the children. You got to be inclusive for a certain degree from my vantage point. Now, getting back to the point of this struggle or this challenge as a people, and how the black man is is dealing with our black people. Of course, all men throughout the biblical text kill all boy babies from Herod and all of that because men pose a threat to men. I mean, that's what the society have set up for. You know, your major sports are ran by men. Your major for years. It's a patriarchal system. It's a sexist system, a racist system, and a capitalist system, and a military system, military complex system. Believe in strength through power, freedom through, and things of this nature. So that's why they have so many weapons. Or they could be, well, anyway, a couple of bombs could probably, three or four of them bombs that they dropping over on Palestine could probably put all the homeless in a house. Just three or four of them, because that's how much they cost with the jet that they deliver, the pilots that do it, and all the cost that goes into making them. And, so my point is that it's where your priorities is. And in order to really get a gist of the black people struggle. It's about understanding that you're in a struggle. You may not be at war, but you're definitely in a war. Most people just want to live and enjoy life for as long as they can. But there are other people that they build institutions and apparatus to rule the world rather than just live in it, and then exploit the world for its resources so they can live luxuriously, not just in comfort, luxuriously. Because greed and envy is the driving force of many societies, especially this one. Your neighbor got a house, get his house painted, you get yours painted. Your neighbor get a pool, you get a pool. Your neighbor get a new car, you get a new car. It's always that driving competitive perspective, and it creates not only the conflict with the society because you can't get what the society have, but the dominant society, but you can get what your needs provided for. You can get your health provided for. We as African Americans are benefiting for the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement. They both complemented each other, and our achievements in this society is just from an exploitative standpoint. And what I mean by that, they see the society treats us as Black people for sex, for taxes, for war. That's what they see us as, not as American citizens. Let me give you an example. Many of the top football teams this past year were in Alabama, Tennessee, all societies that the people come out and cheer for the Black players that play the basketball. But then they won't even let their parents vote. And finally, it's Florida. Look at that. What DeSantis is doing. But the people turn out and they'll cheer for him on the football field. They'll cheer for him in the basketball, tennis, with golf, whatever.
Yeah.
But then see it as because it's all sports entertainment. And it's all about entertainment. Gladiator style, combative style. So you have to, I mean, most people don't even want to get into all of this. They just want to live, man. They trying to get Disneyland tickets. They trying to get Magic Mountain tickets. They know ain't no mountain magic. And they know once you go to Disneyland, spend all that money, you're going to be dizzy all month. So it's a challenge, but, it's a situation where they not only exploit Black people, they exploit their own people. And their people take advantage of their opportunity. They say, I'm not a racist, but you benefit from it. So that's why you're not trying to stop it. And then when you try to stop it, they call you a nigger lover or call you pro-Palestinians rather than against genocide. So it's a different struggle. But anyway, any other questions?
Yeah, you talked a little bit about media, and if maybe you can just draw a picture of how media plays a part in our identity. How do we can trust? What part of media can we trust? What can we not trust? How do we interact with such bombardment of information when we think about our identity and who we become and how it's shaping who we are?
Well, first of all, you have to understand the media is a part of the military apparatus and the psychological indoctrination of this country. That's why Trump is right when he calls it fake news. You understand, to a certain degree, because they make sure minorities, for the most part, I ain't talking about Spanish channels and things of this nature,
Mhm.
can't get mainstream media outlets. You have a Spanish channel with Spanish speaking people, but they mostly entertainment. But as far as serious news, we tried to make a move with BET, but
Mhm.
what happened was they had to sell it, and now white folks run it. It's the Associated Press and all major outlets, except for maybe Al Jazeera and uh, Democracy Now. That's not mainstream. When I talk about mainstream, I'm talking about CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. They're in a competitive market for advertising and for philosophies that they think they can get audience for. And they make sure that it's so expensive that it's, and then you have to fight through so many requirements to open up your own news station or your own station, period. That's very difficult. Now, we can have podcasts because you're only going to get a limited amount of people. Let me give an example. Trump said they're keeping him from campaigning. But every day he's on the news. He don't have to campaign. You know all it is, like he said, they Trump drunk. And I mean, he don't have to. That's why he don't spend no money on it.
Mhm.
Because all he had to do is say something crazy, and then he's all over every news outlet.
Yeah.
Now there are things going on. Nobody's crying about the Palestinians in Gaza,
Mhm.
where Israel didn't cut off all news, all information, even from the Associated Press, because he said they'll share. It's what they don't want you to know. The media about yourself, about
Mhm.
reality, and about life. And it's a challenge. But anyway, our struggle is a continuous struggle. And I believe one day we'll have our own media outlet. But until you can tell your story, present your program, you go listen to someone else. And most of us get our news from Eurocentric propaganda news outlet. It used to be that they just gave news, accidents, rather blah. Now they give commentary, have experts on that they say are experts. They have doctors on that need a doctor. It's just a struggle. You know? So I'm saying it's not that type of a program. So until we get our own media and work toward that, we have billionaires, but um, a lot of them keep their billions by not challenging the system
Mhm.
in major ways. The Jay Z's, Puff Daddies, they just look what 50 Cent is doing on Stars. Nothing but violence and drugs. What I mean? Just violence and drugs. No education program, no political forecast. But that begins at home. The basic, the fundamental place for education is your home. And you behind closed doors so you can teach people what you want. But they don't have to practice it. Most of my kids don't practice what I'm about.
Mhm.
But they were exposed to it, and I tried to teach them. But they get out there, the society is overwhelming. It's overwhelmed everybody.
Yeah.
You have to
Absolutely.
have a philosophy, a black philosophy. I always ask people, what did you do black today?
Hey, that's a good. Yeah. Okay.
What black philosophy do you do you follow? What black values that came from black people? Our
Mhm.
ancestors, our history of struggle. How many people know the real story about Harriet Tubman, the real story about Fannie Lou Hamer, the real story of Dr. Amos Wilson, the real story about William Hale, who opened up the heart surgery, Morgan started the stoplight, the real story. You
Mhm.
understand? To produce pride and a sense of hope and a sense of direction, and that's a challenge, bro.
When I think of you shaping young minds, and when you're a professor and you're teaching, and then I look at you, you said education starts in the home. There's so many black families that don't have fathers. Moms are raising kids, which they're doing what they have to, but then, we see this dynamic in our community all the time. We can't go to the media to kind of learn and grow up. Sometimes it's hard to find that in the home. Where can we reach to as black men, or as black men, how can we help out our communities to kind of stop this place where we can't find values and ethics and morals uh, in our communities anymore?
Well, first of all, there's some strong mothers. There's some strong grandmother can throw a shoe 100 yards, hit you in the head, and say, "Boy, getting out." It depends on the parent. As I said, there's a lot of miseducation, a lot of value confusion. There are a lot of young people, men and women, that may not be doing all they could do to educate their families and educate themselves so they can educate their families. But at the same time, I'm very political now, but my mother and father wasn't.
Okay.
My father was back, in the 50s and stuff. They were just trying to feed us. You
Yeah.
understand? And so I got an education. I was the first to graduate from college. So I know more. I changed my name from my father. I was a junior, Arthur Montgomery Jr. up to 1974. But when I became more conscious of who I wanted to be, I changed my name to Amen Rahh. And so therefore, that's who I am. Now, people still call me by my old names, nicknames and stuff that knew me back in them days. And I respect that. But I know that I'm Amen Rahh because I changed. I didn't just change my name. I can't
Okay.
just change your name. You have to change and because it means something. But anyway, getting back to your point, we get uh, a sense of there are plenty of mentorships and organizations. They're not mainstream. 100 black men. There are people doing a lot of positive things. There are people are building homes at Westbrook, build homes for low-income homes who play for the Clippers. And there's another brother, he just built for 145 homes he gave away. You don't hear about that.
Yeah.
That's why you always look for the good. You have to look for the good. In my house, you can't say nothing bad about black people. You understand? You can't come in there, oh, we ain't doing nothing, and black people ain't doing it, and only person hurt me was another black man. No, everything is very sacred
Hmm.
from that standpoint. And so it's very challenging. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute for 1 second, okay?
Okay. No problem.
Okay. I just want some eggs over easy and potatoes.
Eggs are easy and potatoes. Eggs are easy and potatoes.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, that's fine. We can take that part out. That's
Yeah,
the nice part about being recorded is we have that opportunity
yeah,
to
you
have
can
a break.
edit it. You can edit it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can edit it. So,
but
uh,
we got a lot of sources of positive things that's going on, man. Great people, the African American Culture Centers celebrating Malcolm X's birthday just passed on May 19th. We got a lot of things that we can get educated from and get resources. It depends on if you want them. Some people just want to be American, man. They're American. You have to choose to be African, as Dr. Karenga say. You have to choose to be black. Yeah, but most people, they are so acculturated into American society. So when you see brothers doing stuff and sisters doing things that we consider bad, they just being American. Clarence Thomas just being American. He
yeah.
had, hate black people. Yeah, that's American. Not hate, but build institutions to limit them in their practice and their freedom. You understand? It's a struggle, man. You got to look at like the beautiful thing. There's so many books out there, so many videos.
Yeah.
That you can listen to and learn. Like, you don't have to be them people. I listen to Farrakhan, but I'm not a Muslim. I just take what I believe is good to make me a better person. But I ain't gonna stop listening to him because me, it says he's an anti-Semitic and he's a he's a he's a black Muslim. I ain't gonna stop that. Whoever they tell me not to listen to, that's who I'm gonna listen to.
That's who you're going to listen to. You get that perspective. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I recently got to go to the Justice Museum in Alabama, the one that Brian Stevenson put together. That I believe every Black person in America should go to that museum, just because it goes through, the slave trade, and then it goes into segregation and mass.
There was no trade.
Yeah, it
There ain't
wasn't
no
a trade.
such
It
thing
was
as
a
slave.
they
Yeah.
called the slave trade. You're right. You are
Yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah.
Well, at the end of the museum, when you come out, there's a wall of all the, as I would say, hundreds and hundreds of Black men and women who have made a difference in our culture. And if the walls could talk and just give us the insight of their lives and what they went through. And then I think of somebody like you who you are alive, you haven't passed away, and you can give us insight. And I know you had, while you were teaching your classes in Black Studies, that there were things that you wanted to impart on your students. What are 3 or 4 things that that you taught that really made an impact, that if we were listening to those words over and over again, like we can rewind this tape and give it over and over again, we would have insight that could help us in our lives? What are some of those things that absolutely were the pinnacle of the things that you taught when you were teaching? Or
All right. Fannie Lou Hamer said, never forget where you came from and always praise the bridges that brought you over. So I try to put that type of lesson. I covered the lesson, but I also, at the end of class, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I give them what I call sacred information.
okay,
Well, at one time, most of the classes were Black students. Now it's not. But anyway, the other thing is, I say, you may not get all that you pay for, but you will pay for all that you get. And so I mean that you got to understand that there's going to be challenges in life, and there's going to be uh, challenges in your own family and relationships,
yeah,
and you got to get past all that. And I think to be understanding of why some African Americans are progressing and some are regressing. And it's all because of how you understand the system and what is your purpose. When we came up in the 60s, we came up with a theme that to get in position to help our people. But today they didn't turn that around. They're getting in position to help themselves. And so we've lost that relationship. So I try to rekindle that. Those are about the main thing, that the whole purpose of life is to do good and bring good into the world. And charity begins at home first. And so I was a very, open professor, and I let everybody in who wanted to come into class. And even those that weren't even enrolled could come and sit, because I'm going to introduce them to information that I hope will better their lives and their understanding of the realities that they're facing and others that they're going to be facing, and how not to just be discouraged because there are bricks in front of you. Just learn how to climb bricks, be able to understand that. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's what I want to get, those sacred lessons. When you talk about systems, and there's all types of systems that run, it's our charge to try to change the systems, work within the systems, create new systems. What can we do to change our trajectory when there are these systems in place that are getting exactly what they were designed to do out of?
Well, first of all of them. We work on all always.
Nature sort of
Okay, all of them. Okay, the whole thing is that we work within the system. We work to change the system because Martin Luther King wasn't fighting white people. He was fighting segregation laws.
Yeah,
These were laws. You know how many Supreme Court justices there were while we were in the Holocaust of enslavement, while they said that God sent them to take the land from the Native Americans. See, the oppressor wants you to play by his rules, but you can never equate the oppressor with the oppressed because you can't give them the same moral status. People that abuse you, it's like a rapist telling the girl, "See, you love me," you know? And you know, so it's a challenge, man, how to see you work in the areas that you can make a difference.
Okay.
And if you can help all people, but especially your people, you know, you're a human being. You love all humans that earn their love and that appreciate your love and that reciprocate the love. But it's hard to love people that don't love you back.
Yeah, it is.
You know, that's what Doc Rivers said. Black people love this country, but they don't love us back. So, I mean, look, look what the black people have done to develop this country. The Native Americans, the Asians, they give it a sense of diversity. But it's not just food and dance and entertainment and sex and fight your wars for you. It's about just being a contributor to the diversity of the landscape amongst yourself. You got to always know who you are and where you are. And once you know who you are, it don't matter where you are. And you don't get in petty squabbles. We always teach at the Coweta Center. It's best to lose the point rather than lose the person. Once you lose the point and you lose the person, you can never make the point. But if you lose the point, you can come back and correct it because you never lost the person. And that's it. And just have a high regard for the sacredness of our journey, as you said, and I'd say struggle toward our freedom to be ourselves. And the struggle is, we're fighting politics is war without violence. And war is politics with violence, according to some political science. And so you have to understand these institutions are important. European, he built institutions and laws. So he can say, it's not me personally, it's the law. And that's just the institution. But you build it, that's like saying a spider web. It is not built by the spider. You understand? The systems are built to give Europeans an advantage. And now they're worried about replacement theories and they're cultivating a divisive mentality. 70 million people voted for Trump. 70 million in the last 1920. With all the stuff he did, they still voted for him. Because that lets you know their mentality. And that C.C. Vivian, and the civil rights movement, Reverend C.C. Vivian, he said, what kind of people are these that hate people they don't even know, never met, just because of the color of their skin or just because of the language they speak? What kind of people are you? Now, there's some good white people, black people marry white people. White people marry black people. Chinese and Asian marry interracial, all that. Black people marry Latino. But it's not those that you're worried about, those that have developed relationship and respect for each other. It's the institutions and the cultural tradition that they have toward racism, which is a system of government and culture and tradition. Racism It's not white folks not liking black people. It's them building institutions to limit them. You know, like I said in the Latasha Aaron case, when they had me speak to the media, I said, and the judge, Latasha Aaron was a young girl, went to a store in Los Angeles and was going to get some orange juice. And the Asian lady was giving her a hard time. So she threw the money on the counter and walked out with the orange lady juice. And the lady shot her in the back of the head and killed her.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and so then they charged her with manslaughter, murder or something.
Mm-hmm.
They reduced it to manslaughter. And then the judge gave her probation. And so when they asked me what I thought, I said, well, that's not racism. That's just acts against humanity. Laws against humanity. And a violation of the law in this country. The racism was a white judge that let her go.
Yeah.
Saying that the life of that black girl wasn't worth sending this woman to prison. See, that's the thing that we deal with. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. So I want to pivot a little bit to health. And if you could give us a little bit of insight on access to health care, how health care is us. And when I'm talking about physical health, where, you know, things you may have changed or did differently through your life, and then even talk about mental health a little bit of what can we do to protect ourselves with the things that we need to in order to stay on top of things, to stay sharp, to stay healthy in our minds, you know, as people interact with us.
It's all about nutrition, man, and exercise and preparing to get old. You want to stay in condition. You want to stay in physical condition, but that comes from the home.
Okay.
Our parents take us to the McDonald's and the Taco Bell. You know, the parents is doing that. They got to study health, eating, exercising, and physical fitness. No matter what profession you're in, but being a parent, you got to be in shape.
Yeah.
You understand? You know, you can't say, I'm going to whoop you tomorrow because I'm tired. You know, or discipline you tomorrow because I'm tired. You got to be in physical strength. So the whole issue is that nutrition starts at home.
Okay.
Teaching children to eat. Our parents used to stand behind us and make us eat vegetables. You understand, with a belt, you're going to eat all your vegetables. But now, the commercialization and the greed, they know they're feeding poison. They know they feeding you foods that's going to swell you up. It's not fat, it's swell. And the issue is that we as a people must begin to change our curriculum and focus on nutrition. Now, I ain't saying you can't have fun food every now and then, but not every day and all night. And then teach to control your appetite. Eat with discipline. Chew your food up before you swallow it. All those things have to be taught at an early age and trained, like you train them to brush their teeth, and like you train them to take showers in bath, and like you train them to want to learn. You know, you got your children to want to learn. Yeah.
So how about mental health? What do we do in our world? I mean, you know, nutrition. I hear you. It's from the home, and we got to make sure that we're teaching. But we have this.
Listen, Brian. Let me do this. We're going to do a section 2.
Okay.
Let me do it. Mental health is a crisis in this country, period. Because a lot of the people that are sane are more insane. You know, when you've got this many bombs and you think that's intelligent, you understand, to rule and destroy and to take and exploit it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's enough food, enough water, and enough free scientific innovations to root out traveling is sick with a preponderance toward violence, that you have to keep them in check. That people should be able to travel wherever they want to travel. People should be able to, not with a passport, just travel. You know, I mean, The earth, it belongs to the creator of the earth. And you don't talk about you got a deed, but you can't take that deed with you when you die. But anyway, we'll continue this, Brian.
I thank you. I appreciate you on today. I've gotten some incredible insight. It has been a pleasure. We will definitely, continue this on another time, add some more things. But thank you so much for your insight and being willing to come on today and be part of the Journey to Freedom podcast. And so,
All right, then, brother.
yeah, for all those you are listening, you've just entered another episode, and thank you for being here. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We're going to have much more content as we go on, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. You guys have.
And I'm gonna call you Brian. I'm gonna learn how to use and get on into some of your podcasts.
Oh, all right. My goal for you get as many people watching as you can, and you watch it. So thank you again for being part of the podcast.